Right, first up, India's office space market has been through a fairy tale 2025. Multiple real estate trackers recorded around 39.45 million square feet in office transactions for the first half of the year alone, with cities like Bengaluru, Hyderabad and Chennai leading the charge both in terms of completions and transactions. According to available data, it's now the turn of Tier 2 markets to shine. GCCs, for one, have begun driving a large chunk of activity in Tier 2 cities, which has in turn pushed flexi workspace operators to grow between 22 and 25% in terms of offerings within these markets. Now, according to data from JLL and Colliers, Tier 2 cities are becoming vital nodes for regional operations. South India's flexi market has seen an 80 to 85% occupancy and growth in Coimbatore, Mysuru, Kochi and Mangaluru, thereby enabling big firms to scale up satellite hubs. And with bigger markets like Chennai, Hyderabad and Bengaluru bursting at the seams, it seems the market for Tier 2 offerings in flexi workspaces and beyond is only set to keep growing. Grow by how much though? And does the available infrastructure in Tier 2 markets justify this spillover? To speak to us about all this and more, I'm now joined by James Thomas, co-founder at Kochi-based co-working space operator Space One. James, firstly, thanks so much for joining us in the broadcast. What, according to you, is the pickup in leasing activity that you at Space One have begun seeing in the last year or so in the South Indian Tier 2 cities that you're present in?
Thank you, Jude, for inviting me for this conversation. India has got a very buoyant success story when it comes to the flexi leasing. I remember in 2024, it was around 74 million square feet is what flexi leasing is contributed. That is expected to grow to 85 million and by this 2025, and we are expecting this to grow to 124 million by the year 2027. Okay, and a lot of activities added to this. For example, the GCC activity in the country is grown up by around 30% during the H1 of 2025, and flexi leasing is also growing in tune of 22 to 25 year on year. In the case in our country, and whatever the surge in leasing happening in the country, the Tier 2 cities are also getting the benefits of this, because if you look at the rentals and the expenses in the Tier 2 cities are comparatively cheaper, and you get good talent pool in Tier 2 cities. So probably this could be the reason behind the growth in Tier 2 cities also.
Right. So James, which are the sectors that are driving the spike in leasing activity in Tier 2 cities like you mentioned? Sure, GCCs are a big part of this equation, especially in terms of the recent push that you've seen, this activity experiencing. But which other sectors are driving growth really, James?
We are getting clients from all major sectors, which includes BFSI, healthcare, fintech, IT, engineering, and retail. In fact, to our surprise, some of the traditional companies are switching over to the flexi offices. For example, in fact, recently we had a good transaction of Reliance Industries. They have taken close to 300 seats in Cochin. Okay. Similarly, the media companies like Times of India, then all these companies have opted for flexible offices, and that's a new trend happening nowadays. So healthcare is one sector which is giving us very good business. We have many US MNCs. They started their back-end offices in South India. We have a very good presence in Coimbatore, we have one client which is occupied almost 400 seats in one of the centers in Coimbatore, and Cochin also we have a similar kind of business running from the healthcare sector. Basically, the medical, coding companies, they have, they're preferring to operate from South India.
Right. And so that's quite impressive in terms of the kind of activity seen in these tier two towns. In fact, like we were mentioning a little while ago, Mysuru, Coimbatore, Kochi, like you mentioned as well, seeing a whole lot of activity. But
Yeah.
among the lot, James, which are the key tier two cities in the South Indian region that are showing the most promise in terms of leasing activity and the most promise in terms of big ticket sizes that are being generated in these cities? Which cities are going big in terms of leasing among the tier 2 lot in South India?
In fact, South India's most promising city is Coimbatore and Cochin, because Coimbatore is a hub and very fast growing in terms of infrastructure and connectivity. Coimbatore is, if you ask me, it is centrally located. From Coimbatore you can go to Kerala, you can go to Bangalore, you can go to Chennai and everywhere, right? And it's well connected also, and the infrastructure growth in Coimbatore is tremendous. Same is the case with Cochin also. If you name connectivity, you have the metro rail, water metro rail, and all kind of integrated transportation systems that is available now in Cochin and all. So this is actually fueling the growth of flexi space in these southern markets.
Right. So as far as available infrastructure is concerned, clearly there seems to be no, concerns on that front, given the fact that you're seeing connectivity improve by, a large margins, especially in these cities. So what's the outlook as far as future transactions are concerned, and what kind of growth trajectory do you project in so far as flexi workspace leasing in tier two towns go?
Yeah, as far as we are concerned, we have as of now 22 centers, which is in 5.5 lakh square feet. We have close to 8,000 workstations, and our projection is to grow to um, 40 centers in the next 2 years, which is we are planning to close almost 1.5 million square feet and to have around 20,000 plus seats in the next 2 years is what we are heading for.
Right. And how has this overall demand, translated to the specific demand for flexi workspaces, James? Now, I know for a fact that anybody looking to lease out a space, especially in tier two towns, will have that choice to make between, let's say, a grade A office space for a large team to sit versus a flexi space, given the flexibilities, so to speak, involved in terms of this kind of leasing. So if you were to, tell me what kind of percentage in the overall demand do flexi spaces currently occupy or account for in tier two markets, what would that ratio or that percentage be?
As I said, in India, the last, in last year it was around 74 million square feet, and this year, as I said, this is going to expected to grow to 85, 85 million square feet, and in this, close to 20% of the flexi leasings, happening in metro cities. But places like Tier 2 cities, it is happening, like I can say, it is close to 10% of the overall leasing, but these numbers are growing.
Absolutely. All right. And looking forward to just your own pipeline, you do have your expansion plan clearly ironed out, but which cities are you looking at? You spoke about Coimbatore holding a whole lot of promise for you. Kochi is another, center or a space or a city rather where you've actually focused a whole lot of activity in. But as far as the medium term is concerned, which cities are you betting big on?
Have a fairly good presence in southern markets of the country. We have a good center in Trivandrum. We have almost 10, 12 centers in Cochin, Calicut, Coimbatore. We have a very good presence. Now, Bangalore also, Space One has started our projects in Whitefield. Now we are heading to expand to Chennai and Hyderabad in the next, this financial year, and also tier two cities like Vizag, Mangalore, Mysore, and Madurai. These are some of the cities what we are planning to launch immediately.
Well, it's nice to know that, amid all the focus on tier two cities, you're also looking to, bet big on some established metros like Chennai and Hyderabad. On that note, thanks so much for joining us, James, and breaking down these trends, especially with regard to the outlook on flexi workspaces in Tier 2 markets. Let's hope the Tier 2 markets continue holding their own insofar as leasing activity is concerned. Great speaking to you, as always.
Thank you so much, Jude. Thanks for your invitation.
Right. Moving on now. Call it breakfast diplomacy, if you will. That's what we're calling it, at least. But just days after meeting for breakfast at Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaia's residence, both CM and Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar met for breakfast again, this time at the residence of the latter. Now, the meeting comes just weeks after both of Karnataka's senior-most leaders, not to mention also the state's senior-most political figures in the state government, have been engaged in a power struggle, especially over the last few weeks. The struggle comes even as Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar has rather candidly staked claim to the top political job in the state, a claim that has all but split the Karnataka Congress, at least that's how it would seem, right down in the middle. The ensuring tussle has the Congress High Command finally intervening, after which both Siddaramaiah and D.K. Shivkumar have begun a display of bonhomie and what can only be described as intra-party diplomacy, culminating in twin breakfast meetings. At the second such meeting today, what we can tell you is just this. Siddaramaiah was served his favorite natukodi for breakfast. But for more updates from that meeting and a conversation with Karnataka Home Minister Parameshwara, Imran Khan of the Times Network caught up with the political leader and got a lowdown on what could transpire as far as the state's leadership is concerned. Let's take a look at the conversation.
Chief Minister will also be there. Are you also going, sir, to Mangalore?
I'm also going to Mangalore. CM, myself, and few other leaders, we're all going. Yes.
Sir, amid power tussle which is happening, is going to be likely discussion on the Chief Minister's change, sir?
No, see, you guys are creating this again and again. There is no power struggle, there is no fight, there is nothing. It's all created. And now CM and DCM having a breakfast in their house each other, it's not something which is unusual. Now, don't attach too many things to that.
Well, from Bengaluru to Chennai now, it was first Cyclone Dipwa that brought with it a threat of widespread destruction. However, some respite from it was expected when it weakened into a deep depression. However, that hasn't stopped the rains from lashing parts of Chennai and Tamil Nadu. In fact, a red alert has been issued for Chennai and Tiruvallur districts today. Schools and colleges were closed and offices had employees sign in from home. And while the rainfall intensity has been significantly less than Monday, the city, neighbouring Kanchipuram and Puducherry are braving for another wet evening as weather forecasters predict clouds moving southwards towards the Tamil Nadu-Puducherry coastline despite rainfall and precipitation being significantly lower than what we experienced yesterday. My colleague Dharni sent us this report.
We are reporting from a Keelpark area in Chennai. I'm standing in one of the interior roads in Keelpark area of Chennai. The road looks completely inundated. There is knee-level water in this area, and the two-wheelers and the four-wheelers, they are really struggling to make their way out in this. In fact, the autos are struggling, the two-wheelers are struggling a lot more. That is the situation that is currently prevailing over here in several parts of Chennai, such as Keelpark, Nungambakkam, Pattalam, Puliyandopu, Coimbatore, etc. Several interior roads are completely waterlogged and inundated. The Chennai Corporation has been working towards clearing the water, but they're not able to do it with much pace because of the heavy downpour that is occurring now and then frequently. In fact, the two-wheelers, we are showing you visuals of the two-wheelers and the four-wheelers. They are really struggling to make their way out. In fact, just a few minutes back, we saw a two-wheeler driver. He wasn't able to drive through this stretch. His vehicle got repaired and he was pushing his vehicle through this knee-deep water. That was the situation that unfolded in front of our eyes a few minutes back. And as I told, the situation is quite similar in several interior roads in Pattalam, Nungambakkam, Coimbatore, Park and Nungambakam areas of Chennai. The Chennai Corporation has been telling that for the past 4 years they've spent hundreds of crores in fixing this problem, in fixing the waterlogging, water inundation and the flooding issues which occurs repeatedly during every monsoon season. But it looks like the corporation has not entirely fixed the issue, because if that had happened, then we wouldn't be seeing this, right? The regular life of the people who are living in this entire stretch, it has got affected. They're not able to come out of their house in this knee-level water, especially pregnant women and children and elderly. They're finding it really tough to cope up with the situation. We spoke to the Chennai Corporation authorities. They've told us that very soon they'll be sending their workers and they'll be sending the required machinery to this location to clear out the water. But let's wait and see how long it takes for the Chennai Corporation to come to this location and clear out the water. Let's wait and see how long it takes for the Chennai Corporation to act in this location, to do their job. Location. And as far as weather forecasts are concerned, Cyclone Dipwa, it weakened into a deep depression yesterday, and today morning it further weakened into a depression. In the next 12 hours, it is expected to further weaken into a low pressure area. So that is the update that we are receiving from the regional IMD center here in Chennai. Chennai is expected to receive a moderate to heavy rainfall, inconsistent moderate to heavy rainfall for the next 12 hours. So naturally, the public are advised by the state government to not venture outside unless there is a necessity. And the state government is also keeping a constant track of the situation. Deputy Chief Minister Udayanidhi Stalin has been on the ground and he's been making field visits to several areas in Chennai. He's keeping a close watch of the developments. Let's hope that the city is able to survive this cyclone and the aftermath of this cyclone with ease.
Well, let's hope then that Chennai keeps staying dry. Well, staying with the city now, a frightening situation took hold of passengers on the Chennai Metro rail today when a train suffered a technical snag in the underground stretch between the Central Metro station and High Court station, forcing roughly 24 passengers to disembark and walk through the tunnel to reach safety. The interruption occurred early in the morning when the train lost power and came to a halt, leaving lights flickering inside the coaches. In a statement, the Chennai Metro Rail said the train was halted due to a technical issue and passengers were evacuated immediately. The faulty rake, that statement added, was withdrawn from service and normal operations resumed at 6:20 a.m. Now, the inconvenience that was caused has been regretted by the Chennai Metro Rail in that statement, but no less a frightening ordeal, therefore, early morning commuters on the Chennai Metro Rail today. Moving beyond Chennai to Tamil Nadu now, as the controversial Special Intensive Revision or SIR nears its December 4th deadline, the Election Commission has told the Supreme Court that nearly 95% of voters in the state have turned in their filled-in SIR forms ahead of the deadline. The EC made this revelation in the context of its rebuttal over fears of mass disenfranchisement of voters in Tamil Nadu. The Election Commission has maintained its opposition to political rhetoric in the state that the SIR was a move aimed at disenfranchising voters en masse. The body's claim of 95% form submissions in the state is now a statistic that it says proves that claims of mass disenfranchisement of voters is merely an exaggeration. Right, shifting focus to Andhra Pradesh now, the state has reported a sharp decline in GST revenues for November 2025, with net collections falling 4.6% to 2,697 crore rupees as the effects of the GST 2.0 rate rationalization become fully visible. In fact, the state saw reduced inflows from key sectors like automobiles, cement, FMCG, consumer electronics and dairy products, all of which were impacted by lower tax slabs. The withdrawal of GST on life and medical insurance, along with the removal of compensation cess on most goods except tobacco, further compressed the revenue base. Officials have now noted that while GST collections dipped notably overall, commercial tax revenues, which include other state-level taxes, total to around 4,124 crore rupees, reflecting only a 3.17% year-on-year fall due to stronger professional tax performance. The government maintains that the transition to the new GST structure may cause short-term disruptions but experts expect collections to stabilize as compliance improves and economic activity adjusts to the revised rates even as the year draws to a close. And well, before we end, let's get you visuals of Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy, who it seems quite fancies himself as a footballer. In a clip that's now gone viral, the Chief Minister took to training on a football field ahead of Argentine superstar Lionel Messi's scheduled appearance in the city as part of his India tour. The clip in question shows the Chief Minister practicing under lights with a small group, prompting some folks to wonder if the CM will indeed square off against Messi on the football field. Well then, that'll be one matchup to watch out for, given that Revanth is himself a bit of a sports aficionado. But on that note, it's all the time we have left on the bulletin. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow on yet another episode of South Central. For the moment, it's goodbye from us.